Welcome back to Core Anesthesia. Whether you are a student prepping for tests and boards or a CRNA here to earn CEUs, we are glad you've joined us. For more about us, make sure to check us out on Instagram at Core Anesthesia and online at coreanesthesia.com.
Welcome to the Core Anesthesia Market Update, sponsored by locumtenants.com. We are super excited today because we have a very special guest with us, CRNA and locumtenants.com clinician, Minwoo Kim. Hi, Min.
Hi, Brittany. Thanks for having me.
How are you doing?
Doing great.
We're so excited to have you, and we're so excited to talk with you today about your experience as a CRNA and as a locums clinician. And fun fact, you actually have worked with Tanner of Core Anesthesia. How do you guys know each other?
Yeah, so I had a pleasure working with him while he was doing his clinical rotation.
That's cool. Small world, isn't it? So today we are going to kind of dive into some insights from locumtenants.com and Jackson Physician Search's latest report that's called Is Medicine Still a Calling?, which talks all about the motivations and challenges and kind of the passion of those who are dedicated to medicine. Essentially, it's what is a clinician's purpose in their medicine. So we're going to be unpacking some of those details of that report today and get into kind of Min's perspective as a CRNA and some of these insights. So if you want to read the full report from locumtenants.com and Jackson Physician Search, make sure that you check out the show notes of this episode. So let's dive right in. A fascinating statistic from this report says that 90% of the respondents initially saw medicine as a calling. That's a really huge number, reflecting a very deep-seated desire to serve. So here's kind of the kicker, though. Over half have said that feeling has diminished over time. So, Men, what initially inspired you to pursue a career in medicine? And did you always feel that medicine was your calling?
Yeah, so I've always had drawn the idea of helping others. I truly felt that medicine could be my calling because of my brother who has cerebral palsy and spent a lot of time in and out of the hospital for his treatments and his surgeries. Seeing the people who supported him through every step of his care inspired me and continually reinforced my goal to pursue a career in medicine. Seeing their compassion, the patience, and the dedication from the healthcare professionals who helped him through every step left a deep impression on me. Their impact on his life and on mine made it clear that medicine isn't just a career, it's a calling. That experience planted a seed in me, and over the years, it's grown into a deep desire to be that kind of support for someone else.
Wow, that's incredible. It seems like there's a lot of people in healthcare that I've met personally that, go into medicine because of someone that they know going through something like that. So that's really inspiring. The report also reveals that 73% of the respondents are fundamentally driven by a desire to help others, kind of like what you mentioned with your purpose in medicine. This powerful sense of purpose is often what initially draws people to the demanding yet rewarding path of clinical practice. So can you share kind of a specific moment or experience that reaffirmed your decision to become a clinician and work in medicine?
Yes. One moment that truly reaffirmed my decision to become a clinician happened while I was with my parents and my brother during his clinical visit. Seeing someone gently and patiently explain the treatment plan and took the time to answer every question, despite their busy schedule and the language barrier that we all had at that moment, I saw my mother's entire demeanor change, help lower the anxiety and to provide relief. That interaction wasn't just about medicine. It was about trust, compassion, into a human connection. I remember thinking, this is exactly what I wanted to do.
Wow. Man, you're the type of clinician that I think we all want when we go to the doctor for sure. This report kind of dives into baby boomers are more likely to report a stronger sense of calling and higher levels of passion, maybe perhaps because their experience predates some of the systemic challenges we're seeing today. But on the other hand, Gen Z is most motivated by serving humanity, suggesting a continued emphasis on social impact. So what are some of the biggest challenges that you face in your practice, and how do you stay motivated despite them? Does a clinician's sense of calling kind of differ based on the generation or gender, do you think?
One of the biggest challenges I've seen in clinical practice is the emotional weight that comes with the work, bearing witness to suffering, balancing heavy caseloads, and navigating a system that doesn't always make it easy to prioritize patient-centered care. Burnout is real, especially for younger clinicians entering the field that is increasingly complex and at times under-resourced. What keeps me going is a sense of purpose, knowing that even on the hardest days, I'm doing work that matters. And I think that's something universal across generations. I feel like the older generation of clinicians may talk about medicine as a lifelong calling, something deeply impersonal and identity defining, whereas younger generation of clinicians brings a fresh energy driven by social justice, equity, and reimagining healthcare system that works better for both patients and providers. In terms of gender, I've noticed that women in medicine often navigate additional pressures, balancing family and work, facing implicit bias, or needing to constantly prove their competence. But I also see incredible strength in the way women are advocating for changes and reshaping the leadership norms. Ultimately, while motivations and challenges may differ across generations or gender, the common thread is the desire to make a difference. And for many of us, that's what keeps us going.
Wow. Okay. That's awesome. And just kind of to piggyback off of that. So the research also goes on to say that APPs, CRNAs, are more likely than physicians to say medicine was a defining calling. That might reflect the different nature of their roles, often involving more direct patient interaction and a focus on holistic care. The data indicates that a strong sense of purpose allows clinicians to feel happier in their jobs, but what if that sense of purpose just isn't there? Whether that purpose was once there or has dwindled, is there hope for the future of healthcare if a clinician begins to feel like their efforts are pointless? The research suggests yes, there are actionable steps clinicians can take to rediscover or reignite their purpose. It starts with identifying those aspects of the job that still bring fulfillment, kind of like what you were talking about, then. The moment that reinforces why they went into medicine and confirm their decisions. How do your interactions with patients influence your sense of purpose and fulfillment in your work?
My interactions with patients are the center of what keeps me grounded and fulfilled in this field. No matter how challenging the day gets, whether it's long hours or tough clinical decisions, there's something deeply meaningful in connecting with someone on a human level. It's in the quiet moments when a patient finally feels heard, when a family member's worry eases after you explain a plan, or when you catch a subtle symptom that makes all the difference. Those aren't just check boxes on a chart. They're reminders of why we do this. They have definitely been times when the weight of the system makes you question your impact. But in those moments, I try to come back to the small victories. It's often not the big breakthroughs, but the everyday acts of care, comforting a patient, advocating for their needs, helping them navigate the uncertainty that reignites that original sense of calling. And like the research suggests, it helps to be intentional about noticing these moments. Purpose isn't always a constant flame. It needs tending, but it's always there in every life we touch.
Yes, yes. And balancing that passion with practicality, it seems like that's kind of a struggle continually. And I know that in our research, we kind of went into this. And so doctors who feel a strong sense of calling tend to be happier with their jobs. This feeling of passion and purpose stays the same no matter where they work, whether it's city, the suburbs, or the countryside, and regardless of their practice setting. So how do you think clinicians navigate administrative tasks and financial considerations while still trying to stay true to their passion? What strategies help them reconnect with their purpose? Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, balancing passion with practicality is one of the most persistent challenges in medicine today. Most clinicians enter the field with a deep desire to care for others, but that calling often gets tested by mounting of task barriers and financial pressures. But the clinicians who manage to stay grounded, who continue to find joy and meaning in their work, tend to be the ones who actively seek out ways to reconnect with their purpose. Some of the strategies that I can think are such as taking a few moments each day to pause and reflect on the meaningful patient interactions, or like a moment of growth helps maintain positive perspective. creating a community where whether it's a brief debriefing with colleagues, joining professional groups, or simply having someone who understands the grind. Connection helps lessen the isolations and burnout. Advocating for change, some find renewed purpose in working to improve the system itself, whether through policy, mentorship, or partaking in organizational leadership. And lastly, setting boundaries, learning to say no to the task that doesn't align with your core values. This helps prevent burnouts and helps you conserve energy, allowing clinicians to maintain capacity to provide high quality care. In the end, it's not about eliminating the practical demands. I feel like they're part of the job, but about making room for the moment that brings fulfillment. The purpose might ebb and flow, but it's rarely gone. And with intentions, it can always be rediscovered.
Yeah. And kind of jumping off of that, can you kind of give us your thoughts on working as a locum CRNA and how that has kind of helped you keep that passion going and what doing locums has been able to do for you?
Yeah, so I've been working with locumtenants.com for the last 2 years. And honestly, it's one of the most refreshing decisions I have made in my career. It allows me to reconnect with why I got into medicine in the first place, providing high quality care without getting buried in the same administrative weight or workplace politics that can slowly wear you down over time. One of the biggest benefit is the flexibility. I get to choose assignments that align with my value and my lifestyle, which helps prevent burnout. That breathing room gives me the mental and emotional space to actually enjoy work again. When I walk into OR now, I'm more present. I'm not drained by months of stress. I'm focused, engaged, and able to give my patients my best. Another powerful part of our working with locumtenants.com is the variety. I've been able to work all kinds of settings where my skills are especially needed. Every assignment brings new challenges, but also new perspectives. And honestly, stepping into new environments also means you get to meet new people, not just patients, but you get to meet providers and staff who often end up teaching you something. And that human connection, the shared sense of purpose, is what keeps my passion alive. Locumtenants.com has given me back my joy and made work feel meaningful again.
That's awesome. And when it comes to meaningful work, our research found that as well. When you look and compare locum tenens physicians to permanent clinicians, there's really no statistical significance between the difference in beliefs in that passion and purpose. The same was true when looking, at the urban, suburban, and rural clinicians and by practice setting. All were equally likely to feel medicine is a calling, no matter if you're doing it temporarily or if you're doing it permanently. What advice would an experienced clinician like yourself give to an aspiring CRNA? And how important is mentorship in maintaining that sense of purpose?
To aspiring CRNAs, the first thing I would say is never lose sight of why you started. The road to becoming a CRNA is rigorous, academically, emotionally, and physically, but it's also one of the most rewarding journeys you can take. You'll be trusted with people's lives during the most vulnerable moments. The responsibility is humbling, and it's a privilege that never gets old. One piece of advice: stay curious, stay compassionate, and stay grounded. It is easy to get caught up in the technical side of anesthesia, which of course is critical, but never underestimate the power of presence. A calm voice before induction, a reassuring touch, or simply listening to a patient's fear. Those moments matter just as much as a clinical skill. Mentorship plays a huge role in keeping that sense of purpose alive. I wouldn't be where I am today without the guidance of CRNAs who took the time to share their knowledge, their stories, and even their mistakes. Mentorship isn't just about clinical skills. It's about learning how to navigate the highs and lows of this profession. It's someone reminding you that you're not alone when you're overwhelmed and celebrating with you when you succeed. And now, as more experienced clinician, I found that mentoring others has become part of what fuels my own passion. Watching the new CRNAs grow, succeed, and find their own sense of calling is incredibly fulfilling. It creates a ripple effect where we're not only caring for patients, but we're also shaping the future of the profession. So my advice: lean into the challenges, find mentors who inspires you, and when the time comes, be the mentor for someone else. Purpose in this field isn't static, it evolves. But with the right support and strong sense of why, it just never disappears.
I love that. That is such a great answer. And Thank you so much for being here, man. I really do appreciate it. This report overall, these questions kind of paint the very complex picture that, you as a medical professional kind of go through, but it sounds like ultimately it is very worth it. Thank you so much for being here today, man. We really appreciate it and super excited to talk with you again. It's been such a pleasure to have you and hearing your insights and thoughts on some of this data. And for you guys that are listening, if you want to read the full report from locumtenants.com and Jackson Physician Search, check out the show notes of this episode. And for CRNAs interested in locum tenens work, explore our website, locumtenants.com, to discover an array of opportunities available. If you want to earn more money, try new practice settings, expand your clinical skills, and control your own schedule, give locums a try. Locumtenants.com will assist you with your licensing, credentialing, privileging, and more. Whether you choose a local assignment or head across the country, we will cover your travel and even cover your malpractice insurance. So check out locumtenants.com to search for opportunities today. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of the Core Anesthesia Market Update, sponsored by locumtenants.com. If you found this discussion helpful, be sure to follow locumtenants.com on social media for more information like we have talked about today. Thanks so much for listening.